Tuscan cooking is all about restraint and elegance. Take, for example, Rosticciana, which is grilled pork ribs. Now, any flavors or seasonings are sparingly applied to the meat so that the flavor of the pork and fire comes through. Now, Keith's here, and he's going to show us how to make this elegant Tuscan dish at home.
Yeah, so these ribs are unlike what most people think of barbecue ribs. They're not fall off the bone. There's no smoke. There's no spice rub. There's no sticky sweet glaze. It's all about the pork. They're cooked over a fairly high heat, so they're going to get nice and brown, they're going to get nice and roasty, and they're going to have the succulent flavor and a little bit of chew. We're starting with St. Louis style spare ribs. These are coming from the rib of the pig, you know, down by the belly. They're about 2.5 to 3 pounds each. Unlike with American barbecue where you grill the whole rib really slowly, most of these recipes are grilling individual ribs, so you get a lot more browning, you have a lot more surface area. But you can imagine trying to juggle 20 ribs on a hot grill with a lot of fat. Not fun.
And you might lose a few of them.
You're going to lose a few, you're going to have flare-ups, it's going to be a mess. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 rib portions here. So we're going to maximize the surface area, but we're going to reduce those things that we're trying to tend on the grill by half. I like to flip it over so I can actually see the ribs. It's much easier to see. I'm just going to cut right in between them. Very simple. And we're doing 2 ribs. Do the same thing here. Some ribs have 12 bones, some have 13. If you get down to the end and you have 3 bones like I have here, just leave that as a 3-bone segment. So I'm just going to pat this dry really quickly with some paper towels. There's usually no adornment with these ribs. We're just going to use salt and pepper. I'm going to salt these ribs on both sides with 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. And we're going to let that stand for an hour to let that salt penetrate into those muscle fibers, help them retain some juiciness, and also help to season it. Okay, so our ribs have been sitting with that salt for about an hour, and we're about ready to grill. But Rosticciana is usually part of a mixed grill. You have ribs, you have sausage, you have white beans, you have potatoes as part of a meal. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Radicchio. I have 3 10-ounce heads of Radicchio that we're going to quarter, and we're going to take those out to the grill with our ribs. And once the ribs are done on the grill, we're going to grill these really quickly. I really like Radicchio on the grill is because it is a little bitter. But on the grill, it caramelizes, takes away some of that bitter edge.
Sure does.
Okay, and to make sure that these caramelize and don't stick to the grill, we have a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil here that I'm just going to brush over the top. You want to get that oil down in between those leaves. Okay, I'm just going to season these with salt and pepper, a little kosher salt, and a little bit of pepper. Okay, so our Radicchio is ready. Now we just have one more thing to do with our ribs. Again, we're going to brush these with 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. We're only going to brush the top side of this, what I would call the meat side. The bone side is curved, so it's not going to really make that much contact with the grill, so we don't need oil there because it won't stick. And 1 teaspoon of pepper that we're going to sprinkle over the top as well. Now we're ready to grill.
All right.
You ready to cook some ribs?
So ready.
Okay, so our grill is ready to go. I've had this preheated on high heat for 15 minutes. It's going to be nice and hot.
Okay.
But I just want to cut down our heat just a little bit, down to medium high. We don't want to go too high here. So before we put our ribs on, I just want to give this a quick scrape. One more step. I'm just going to take some vegetable oil and a towel. I'm just going to give this a quick rub down with some oil. So now for our ribs, I'm going to put these on meat side down first.
Okay, so meat side down, bone side up. Got it.
We're going to let these go for about 4 minutes, and they're going to get some grill marks on it, just really light browning. We don't want to get all the browning right now. We just want to kind of cook them through, you know, medium slow.
All right.
Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes. We're going to give our ribs that first turn.
Ah, there's a little color.
Yeah, that's perfect. We don't want a lot of color right now. We just want a little bit of color because we're going to get more color on this side on the 3rd flip. So I'm just going to give these a quick turn. It's also good at this point, if you have, you know, your cooler part of the grill in the front, you can always move things from front to back, left to right. You kind of feel how your grill works. So I'm just going to take these that are probably getting a little bit more heat, just put them in front like this.
Switcheroony.
So we're going to go another 4 to 6 minutes on this side until they're starting to get brown on that bone side of the ribs. Okay, so it's been another 4 minutes, and that second side should be nicely browned. Let's look.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, And you can see that because of the way that rib is shaped, it's not going to get even browning
Sure.
over the whole thing, but you can see the edges have gotten nicely browned.
Beautiful.
So I'm just going to give these one more flip.
Okay.
And this is our last flip, and we're going to finish cooking on this side.
So now it's meat side down again.
Now it's meat side down again. We're going to cook that 4 to 6 minutes on that meat side, and it's going to be nice and golden brown, and it's going to be about 175, 185 degrees. So it's been about 4 minutes, and time to check our ribs.
It smells amazing.
Now what we're looking for is we want some nice, deep golden brown
Whoa,
coloring on that.
beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? It's like the best roast pork you can imagine. I just want to check the temperature of these. Now we're looking for about 175 to 180 degrees. The collagen will have broken down a little bit, but they're still going to have that nice chewy texture that we're looking
Gotcha.
for. When I temp these, I can grab it with the tongs, and the nice thing about having these in a 2-bone section is that you can stick the thermometer in the meat in between those bones. So 182 degrees, so I just put these on here. Look at that, isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can put that down.
Gorgeous.
Now we're gonna let that rest for about 10 minutes like that before we eat
Okay.
it. We're gonna use that 10 minutes wisely. We still have a hot grill, so we're gonna grill some radicchio. So we're gonna put these on here. If you have some leaves like that, you're better off just to leave them off. They're just gonna burn really quickly. That's gonna cook through pretty quickly, just about 5 minutes. And we're gonna turn it every 1.5 minutes, and we're gonna get those 3 sides, so the 2 cut side and the round side of that radicchio.
Okay.
It's been about 5 minutes. We can check our radicchio now. That's looking great. So what we're looking for is we want the outsides of the radicchio to char, but we want the inside to kind of stay nice and pink and still have a little bit of crispness to it.
Oh, wow, yeah. A little rosy color inside.
Nice little rosy color inside, but it's charred on the outside. That's perfect. We're gonna go inside, we're gonna make a nice sauce for these ribs, and then we'll be ready to eat. Okay, the ribs have rested for 10 minutes, and we have a couple last-minute embellishments for our radicchio. First, I just have some balsamic vinegar here. I'm gonna just give a little sprinkle to these.
It's all they need.
Yes, the acidic vinegar is going to balance out the bitterness of that radicchio a little bit. If you have a nice aged balsamic, nice and syrupy, that would be the time to break it out for this. Now for the ribs, we're going to make a quick vinaigrette. So we're starting with a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to add 2 cloves of minced garlic and 1 teaspoon of minced rosemary. And I'm just going to stir that in here. But that's going to be kind of harsh right now. So once we get this stirred in, I'm just going to microwave this for 30 seconds just to take the raw edge off that garlic. Oh, that smells great.
Sure does.
So it's been 30 seconds. Now I'm just going to add
good.
2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Okay, so our vinaigrette's done, and now we can cut our ribs. Again, I flip it over so I can see those bones and cut these in half in between that bone section.
Oh,
look at
beautiful.
that.
Juicy.
Juicy. You never see juicy ribs like that with regular barbecue ribs.
Never.
A wedge of radicchio.
Beautiful.
I'm going to drizzle these with our garlic vinaigrettes.
That is stunning. The meat is beautifully cooked, nice and juicy. Meat that's cooked right on the bone is so good, tender and meaty and porky.
And so succulent.
It really is. Even though it's not falling off the rib, it's still really tender. I mean, it's got a little bit of tug and chew, but it's not tough at all.
There are only a handful of ingredients here, but it's all about the ribs. It's all about that pork flavor. Let's try the radicchio.
Yes. It gets that really nice papery kind of leaves on it.
But it still has a nice crispness on the inside.
That's perfect. I mean, radicchio can be very, very bitter, but grilling kind of is magic.
Yeah, it mellows it out. The balsamic gives it another edge.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Keith.
You're welcome.
All right, if you'd like to make Rosticciana at home, well, it starts with spare ribs. Cut St. Louis spare ribs into 2 rib portions, rub the ribs with salt, and then let them rest for an hour. In the meantime, you can oil and season quartered heads of radicchio. Now, go outside and grill the ribs until deeply browned, and then grill the radicchio. Drizzle the radicchio with balsamic and create a garlicky rosemary vinaigrette for those ribs. So from America's Test Kitchen to your kitchen, Tuscan grilled pork ribs and grilled radicchio, AKA Rosticciana, AKA gorgeous.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.